Alright, hello everyone. Today's going to be a quick tutorial on masking in Photoshop. Now I'm going to start off. I've got 4 3D images here. These are all past works of mine. I have this Game Boy Advance, this Sega Game Gear. I've got this little close-up of a 3D jukebox that I made, and this old game art piece that I made. And I'm going to start off with this one here. I'm basically going to make a series of masks. I'm going to start off the polygon tool here. Actually, no, not polygon tool. Ellipse tool. And I'm just going to drag this over. I'm going to hold shift so that it keeps it as a perfect circle. Now I'm going to go up to the fill. I just want to make sure it's filled with something. Now I'm going to make sure it snaps. The easiest way to do that is to just go Control, comma, bring in my grid here. And I'm just going to hit Control T so I can see this, so that it lines up here, and make sure that it lines up here and here. Easy enough. Now there's a couple ways I can do this. I'm going to try one method first, and then we'll try the other ones later. I'm going to Control click this ellipse here, and I'm just going to hide it. Go to the background and hit our layer mask button, add layer mask. It looks kind of like a camera icon down here. Do that, and then it gives you that. Now you got a mask. So if you don't know, in this mask area next to the image of the layer, you've got the black areas, which are not showing anymore, and the white areas, which are showing through. Makes sense, right? Now, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this image here, and I'm going to I'm going to bring it down. So then there, I've got this effect going on here. So now with this next one here, I'm going to move this ellipse up here. I'm going to go ahead and save a copy of it, so I'm going to Alt drag, and it makes a copy. So now with this one here, I have this open. I'm going to hit Control T, and I'm going to Alt drag this up to about there. Now let's do the other method here. I'm actually going to move it down below the Sega Game Gear here, turn that on, hold Alt, and as you're holding Alt and you move the cursor down in between the two layers, you'll see the icon change from the hand to this little white box with an arrow pointing down. Click on that, and it will create a mask that way. This is a clipping mask. This is a layer mask. This is a clipping mask. And now, as you can see, it's above the Game Boy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift select both of these, and I'm going to bring it down in between the Game Boy and that environment back there. So then that's that step. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to address this jukebox here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this ellipse here, move it up, let's turn this on, and let's adjust this a little bit. Actually, I'm going to hit A, which is bringing up the direct selection tool, which is going to give me these options, the fill and the stroke. I'm going to turn the fill, click on fill, and I'm going to select nothing. Stroke, doesn't matter what color, I'm just going to crank it up arbitrarily to about there. Click on it again, Control T, holding Alt, I'm going to move it up to about there. I'm going to Control click this. Now if I Control click it, you see it's just selecting the inside. So if I were to click on this right now, hit a layer mask, it's only going to do that. But I don't want it to do that. So instead, move this up here, Control D to deselect, clipping mask by holding Alt and click there. And now it will work because it's going to understand this stroke here as a fill area, and it's just going to put it only where I want it to be. Now it's a little bit confusing and complicated right now, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to first of all say, you know what, I think I want a little bit of area here in between the Game Boy and the Game Gear. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take, let's say just make out another circle by Control J on that one. And I'm going to go ahead and move it down a bit, like so. Maybe about there. And here's what I want to do. I want to have this area to not show through, but this area to show in the Game Gear itself. And if you want to unpreview this clipping mask or break it, just alt-click it again, and it'll show it back to normal. And I can always just bring it back by alt-clicking again. But now, this top one, the smaller circle that we have, I'm going to control-click that, go back over here to this one, and create a layer mask. And now let's bring this up here. And now it's doing the opposite of what I want to do, so I'm going to go into the layer, Control-I, and there you go. So now it's only showing this rim right here. So you basically have a layer mask inside of this layer, which has a clipping mask from this image down to this. So you're only seeing the Sega Game Gear in this rim on this circle. Because what we have here on this layer mask is it's only going to show this white part of this circle here. Because we have this layer mask which is blacking out this middle portion of this circle right here. And that area, which would normally be white, is being filled with this Sega Game Gear render right there. And just to make this image look a little more sensible, I'm actually going to create another layer here, Alt backspace to fill it with black, and I'm just gonna bring the opacity down a bit. And just do that. About 83 or so. So hopefully this video was helpful for you at all. Using layer mask is a pretty fundamental thing to know how to do in Photoshop. You can get some creatively interesting things going on this way. So if this video was helpful for you at all, please let me know in the comments. Please consider hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel for me. Other than that, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.